Hey guys, Roman and Reaper here. So yep, just outside the cinema. Time for another cinema trip. About to see Air, the Nike Air Jordan film from Ben Affleck. Very excited for this. Good cast, and Affleck is fairly reliable as a director. So this should be a lot of fun. Gonna head in, get my seat, go watch Air. Wearing my Adidas trainers. So yeah, I've got my popcorn, my frozen Fanta, ready for Air. So yeah, just got back from seeing Air. And obviously when you think this film, obviously on the surface you think, well, it's about the story of how the Nike Air Jordan came to be, and you just think, well, surely this is going to be nothing but like a 2 hour glorified advert for Nike products and specifically the Nike Air Jordan. But on its side, it does have Ben Affleck in the director's chair, and obviously Ben Affleck is very reliable when it comes to the films he directs. So I had hope for this one, and does it live up to those hopes? Well, let's find out. So it's 1984 and things aren't going well for the Nike company. Their sales are down and growth is down, and they are essentially a non-entity in the world of professional basketball, with all the top talents going to either Adidas or Converse. Until one day, Sonny Vaccaro decides to make a genius bid to get Michael Jordan to sign for Nike, right down to his own special line of shoes specifically for him. And he's willing to bet his house and his career to make this happen. So as I said earlier, you look at the premise on the surface and you go, great, 2 hour Nike advert. But actually, you look below the surface, it's actually a really entertaining film. It's a lot more entertaining than you'd expect the story of the creation of a shoe to be. And goddamn, it is probably I was very pleasantly surprised by this. For one, it's not really necessarily about the creation of the shoe. Well, it is, but actually, this at its heart is an underdog story of Nike. You know, a no name in the world of professional basketball, making a bid to sign the future legendary basketball megastar Michael Jordan, and a deal that be revolutionary and go down in history. Like you know exactly how this story is playing out, but it's the journey to get to that point that it's so compelling that it's a wonderfully directed story here. Like yeah, it, it uses like all the 80s aesthetics here, the clothes, the hair, the decor, the products, the computers, they clearly loved getting the attention to period detail right. And this extends to the soundtrack as well. It's full of banging needle drops from a from an opening montage of 1984 popular culture set to Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. The film, like music wise, puts its foot on the gas and never lets go. There are some banging song choices here, and some needle drops you will not expect at all. But beyond the underdog nature of its story and the period setting, it's all sold by an incredibly talented cast of actors, all of whom are actually really good here. Ben Affleck is good and plays like a sort of a very good straight man to all the madness. Viola Davis, as you'd expect, is great. I can't wait for her to get snubbed again at next year's Oscars. Jason Bateman's good too. There are also some very strong comedic performances here, notably from Chris Tucker and the film's comedic MVP, Chris Messina. He is so funny. There's an amazing scene where he is on the phone with Sonny, and he just gets progressively angrier with his threats getting cruder and cruder as he goes on. It is wonderful. But the standout of the film is, of course, Matt Damon. Yeah, he's great. He has real screen presence and charisma, as you'd expect from goddamn Matt Damon. He's great, his gravitas, pathos to the performance. He's also very, very funny as well. Like he's great. It's a really compelling turn for a really compelling character. You know, an idealistic gambler who bets big and takes big risks, no matter the consequences. It's great stuff. And you know, as well all this, I mentioned earlier, there's some very funny performances. The film is itself is very funny. It takes a little bit, obviously, to sort of find its comedic groove. After the 1984 Member Berries montage and stuff, it does take a little bit to sort of find its footing. But once it does, there are some surprisingly funny gags. The best of which is saved till near the end of the film. Actually, in the big meeting with Michael Jordan. I won't spoil it. You sort of have to see it for yourself, because the audience at the screening erupted into laughter. It's surprisingly funny, and it's also very handsomely shot, and obviously there's and obviously with this being a big star-studded telling of this story, it is has all the visual pizzazz you'd expect, and it looks good. Now, obviously, there are a couple there. Yeah, I'm going to address the Michael Jordan in the room, because obviously casting Michael Jordan, it's a big task, because you know how much of a legend he is and how much of an impact he has left on culture. But the way the film goes about it is kind of clunky. So anytime Michael Jordan's on screen, which is not a lot, you know, he's mostly like kept off screen. But the few instances he is on screen, like he's essentially like shot from the back, and he doesn't say anything, and we don't see his face at any point. And honestly, I think I can kind of see what Affleck is going for here. Like, have this big, sort of sense of mystery, that that this will be the the absolute legend that we know today. But in execution, it doesn't quite work. But in saying that, I actually had a really good time overall watching Air. It's great fun and way more entertaining than you'd expect. Like a film about a bunch of guys in suits, in a boardroom negotiating a deal about the creation of a show to be. And it's all the better for it. It's a lovingly made film with real attention to period detail, a handsomely directed and shot film. all sold by a surprising sense of humor and a very talented cast, and which does sort of get around that it does take a bit to find its footing, and yeah, the film struggles in regards to capturing the legend of Michael Jordan, but overall, I had a really great time watching it. If you can get to this on the big screen, definitely do it. It's surprisingly entertaining, and you'll have a great time watching it. It's a great crowd experience. And yeah, overall, I'm going to give Air an 8 out of 10. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. Have you seen Air? What do you think of it? Have you seen it at the cinema, or are you waiting for it to come on the Prime Video? And do you have Nike Jordans? And does this story fascinate you? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget the subscribe button if you're new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.